After 32 days of military operations, the official narrative from the White House was one of total victory. President Trump claimed that Iran's military had been eviscerated, stripped of its power to the point where it no longer posed a meaningful threat. That claim was tested almost immediately. Even as the president spoke, missiles rained over the Gulf, launched from mobile sites that the month-long bombing campaign had failed to neutralize. While the U.S. strikes undoubtedly damaged Iran's conventional connection lines, the strikes on Israel and neighboring Gulf states proved that Tehran's long-range capabilities remained operational. They weren't just surviving, they were actively retaliating. The evisceration narrative hit a wall of reality. Iran had shifted its strategy, moving away from traditional defense to a direct form of deterrence, leveraging surviving missile technology to strike the region's most sensitive targets. This 21-mile-wide Strait of Hormuz, the primary exit for Middle East oil, is now under Iranian control. 3,200 commercial vessels are currently stranded. Iran is demanding tolls from hostile shipping, allowing friends to pass, potentially earning $6.4 billion immediately. Tehran doesn't need to completely shut down the flow to win. The mere perception of risk spikes global oil prices and disrupts international supply chains. By holding this 21-mile choke point, Iran has secured a leverage point that effectively counters the damage done by the U.S. air campaign. They've turned a geographic reality into a strategic shield. The conflict on the ground has evolved into a war of harassment. Iranian forces continue to fire tactical missiles from hidden mobile batteries, forcing U.S. and Israeli defenses to stay on high alert across the region. But Tehran has realized that traditional kinetic warfare has its limits. Threatening the global economy by targeting shipping is proving to be a much more effective deterrent than simple battlefield exchanges. Surprisingly, the U.S. has shown a sudden lack of urgency in reopening the waterway. Despite several missed deadlines, the White House recently suggested that the Strait of Hormuz was never a core war objective and that they are prepared to exit regardless of who controls the passage. This shift signals that the conflict is no longer a simple test of military hardware. It has become a battle of economic endurance. Because of this imbalance, every day the blockade continues, the economic pressure on Beijing intensifies. For the U.S., the disrupted flow is a manageable inconvenience. For China, it's a potential energy crisis. This creates a new variable in the broader trade competition between the two powers. While China maintains a dominant position in areas like rare earth mineral processing, the vulnerability of its energy supply gives Washington a significant bargaining chip in ongoing diplomatic negotiations. However, this strategy carries a high cost for regional partners. Iran has begun targeting oil refineries across the Gulf, using direct strikes to demonstrate that the U.S. presence can no longer guarantee the safety of its allies' most valuable assets. These strikes have left nations like Saudi Arabia and the UAE in an increasingly precarious position. If the U.S. prioritizes its competition with China over the stability of the strait, these regional powers are left to face Iranian aggression alone. Ultimately, the U.S. appears to be treating the Iranian blockade as a tool of containment. By tolerating the bottleneck in Hormuz, they can exert massive pressure on their primary global rival, even if it leaves their Middle Eastern partners in the crosshairs. After 32 days of sustained military pressure, the incentive for Iran to seek a permanent solution for its survival has reached a breaking point. The campaign to weaken Tehran has only increased its drive toward a nuclear deterrent. Despite the war, Iran maintains a stockpile of approximately 1,000 pounds of enriched uranium. This facility remains the focal point of a program that has only become more critical to Tehran as its conventional forces are degraded. With its missile production lines taking heavy damage, the nuclear question is the only remaining wildcard for Iranian sovereignty. It is the one leverage point the U.S. cannot easily bomb away. The policy of evisceration may have achieved its short-term military goals, but it has inadvertently made the prospect of a nuclear-armed Iran more likely than at any point in the last decade. The events of the last month have set a new precedent for global trade. The ability to seize or toll a vital shipping lane has been validated as a standardized weapon of regional conflict. Iran has discovered that control over a 21-mile stretch of water is a far more potent tool of influence than a fleet of aircraft or thousands of ground troops. It is a lesson other nations are likely to study. By weaponizing the world's most vital waterway, Iran hasn't just survived a war. It has rewritten the rules of how regional powers can challenge global giants.